It's Friday. It's Friday. Guess what, y'all? It's Friday. So the weekend has officially started. Hope you're feeling good out there. I feel good. So we talked about a few different things this week. We got kind of off of the thing of talking about gambling and sports betting and just a little stuff like that because of the whole Charlie Kirk incident. So, and unfortunately, the world we live in, there's many things happening. There's over 300 million of us just in this country. So the chances that something happens on a daily basis is all too common. But what I want to talk about today is just how much do you give back? How much do you give back? How much have you actually given? And it could be just different things. I remember when I think it was Katrina or one of those, and I think I donated like $10 to the Red Cross or whatever. And I remember I tried to get some other people to donate. And they were like, yeah, well, where's my money going to go in? I don't think that the money is going to go to the right hands and people like that. And I said, yeah, I hear that. And as I've gotten older, I found out that most of the money that is donated, or a huge percentage of the money that's donated, goes towards advertising, goes towards salaries, just different things like that. But just like even with the incident that we talked about with Charlie Kirk, it's more of a mindset. It's more of a mindset where you want to do things and you want to try to do things from the heart. I've talked about this before where, I had a girlfriend one time and, we were at a gas station, and this is maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And she was just saying, she was like, she gave this guy $5. 25 years ago, $5 was like $10 or something, right? So she gives it to him. And I remember saying to her, I was like, yo, why are you doing that? Like, why are you giving this guy money? And she says, listen, you keep saying stuff about me when I give out money. She said, first of all, it's my money. She said, secondly, as much as I get paid, what is $5 to somebody? I said, well, they may just go get it to use drugs or do whatever they go. She said, listen, it's less about him and more about me and what I want to do from my heart. What I need to do from my heart, from my spirit, from my well-being, for the way I feel about things. And I thought about it because sometimes you can hear somebody say something and then it at least slightly changes your perspective on things. And so it really did. It did change my perspective. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I do get tired of people begging. I don't like the fact that they have the little cheerleaders and the football teams out there asking for dollars and stuff just because they're little kids on these main roads and they could get hurt. But I even still, if I got $1, $2, I will still give to them. But giving. A lot of times when we think that we've done something, and I've had to look internally with myself, and a lot of times you really haven't done enough. You haven't done enough. I think about times when, I could have been a better big brother. I could have been a better friend to people. I could have been, a better, whatever boyfriend, or, a better father, all of those different types of things. And this is the reason why we talk. This is the reason why I talk, is because us as people, as a person, there are many different layers to you as a person. There are many different pieces of the pie to you as a person. And let's face it, as good as all of us or most of us try to be, we all can't be perfect, but it's easy to point out somebody else's imperfection. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do it a lot. I know other people I talk to, they do it where, you might say something like, well, I can't believe that they let such and such. I can't believe that they let their kid do such and such. Hey, listen. It's easy, as they used to say, to play Monday morning quarterback. It's easy to down somebody and say what they should have done looking in hindsight. Now, yes, of course, if you letting your kids or you letting your wife or your girlfriend stay out till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning all the time, then yes, you know what I'm saying? There definitely is a problem that needs to be rectified with that. But none of us are perfect. Yet most of us think that we have the perfect answers to a lot of things. And we don't. And a big part of, in my estimation, a lack of stuff, because I'm going to take this out of my guy, because I used to listen to Dave Ramsey a lot years ago when I was trying to, keep my credit right and do all this other kind of stuff. And he has a lot of, he's a guy from Tennessee, and he has a lot of good financial advice and everything like that. Some people agree, some people don't. I agree with a lot of his stuff, or some of it. And so he said there's 3 types of people. You got spenders, which are most of us. You got savers, which is some of us. And you got givers, or people who do donations or philanthropy. And he said he does all 3, plus he has the money to do it. He said he's always done it, especially tithing to his church. He said, but most people fall under that first category. Remember how I was talking about there's some kind of stat where a lot of Americans, I don't want to misquote, so it's 50, 60, 70% of people don't even have $1,000 in their savings account or checking account just in case of an emergency. I've fallen under that before. So you have people that, because they don't have the nature of giving, and I'm telling you, and I really mean this, and I feel this. I feel like the more you give, especially the people that have helped you out, people that have helped you succeed, people that have been good to you, the more you give, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be money. It could be advice. It could be time. It could be support, but just giving more of yourself to people in general. And that even means sometimes giving to people that you don't know, like how I gave the gas station scenario, where sometimes you give to people, even if you know that they're maybe not going to do the right thing, but to see somebody doing worse than you, to see something going on when you know that $1 is not going to kill you, when you know that a couple of dollars isn't going to kill you, especially when I see the younger kids at the pump, at the gas stations and stuff like that. Because I say to myself, you know what? At times do I get tired of it, but I think to myself, it could also be a lot worse. I can think to myself, Dad, as soon as I get out of that car, he could try to jump in the car. As soon as I get out, he could possibly pull out a gun on me. But all he's asking for is $1 or $2 to pump the gas. Give. We have to be more of a giving community to each other. And, I know I big up my mom all of the time. And, and the reason is that because, unfortunately, everybody doesn't have that. Everybody doesn't have a person in their life that is just a willing giver of their time, of their patience, of their financial resources that'll really help you out. I remember going back to last year in November when I got into that accident, and I couldn't walk, and and I've talked about this before, but I talk about it because it also helps me keep things into perspective. And it was some people, especially her, and who really found it. Even my Aunt Ramona, I got to shout her out, who just said, "Hey, look, you know what? Here you go. Here's a couple $100. And like I said, I know it's not all about money, even my Uncle Harold helping me up the steps, Jake helping me up the steps, me coming out of the hospital, not being able to use my one leg, my aunt taking care of me, my mom coming over every day. It's just countless people who had done things for me. And of course, it's because they love me, but they were still givers. Because I'll tell you, conversely, there were people who I thought that loved me and didn't give ish. Didn't get no time, ain't get no paper, ain't get no ride, ain't give no hospital visit, didn't give a phone call. And hey, listen, I'm still human. That's why I said none of us are perfect. And that's still something that for me, I got to get over. Because see, when you are a natural giver like me of your time and, your resources and your connections, and you don't ask anybody for anything in return, it does. It starts to wear you out. It starts to wear you out when you feel like people just take advantage of your niceness. Talking to Jake the other day, like, yo, hey, listen, it makes you feel like, and I've talked about this before, like no more Mr. Nice Guy, even though that's what I am. But I've realized years ago, and even now, to the end of my life, where there has to be strategic nice guy-ness. Because, see, everybody doesn't love you the way that you think that they should love you. Everybody doesn't care about you the way that you feel like you care about them. And vice versa. You know, people may think that I cared about them more than what I actually did. And that's okay. Because, see, humans are not perfect. Wow. I know you're saying, okay, Captain Obvious, I know that. But the other part to it too is that a lot of times us as humans, we're not willing givers. People want to just keep everything for themselves. You ever heard this before? When you hold your fist tight like this and hold on, you got a couple dollars, you hold on tight like this, that you can't ever open your hand and receive any more gifts because you're so tight with everything. You're tight with your money. You're tight with your time. You're tight with your resources. It's never been me. For I'll say most of the case. Now, I mean, hey, listen, you know, once again, none of us are perfect. But it's funny, when you give and you do good stuff for good people, it's funny how not only does it make you feel better, but eventually it'll come back to you. And it'll come back into you in ways that you never thought that it would happen. Because most people, and I get it, most people, I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think most people are good people. I think most people try to do good. And of course, most people are going to take care of their own first, which makes a lot of sense. But I think that more people have to get into the spirit of giving. Regardless as to where you think if you donate to the Red Cross, the money is going to go. Because one thing that accident taught me is that you never know if you're going to be up next. You never know when it's your time to dance with, maybe not the devil, but dance with something that you're going to need help. You're going to need a dance partner. So think about that. Are you a giver? Do you give? And I'm not just talking about to your children, to your immediate family. Do you give? Do you give your time? Do you donate any of your resources? If you're a handyman, if you're a carpenter, do you help your neighbor that you see is doing bad? Do you offer any assistance to other people that you feel like it's really not going to hurt you, but you feel like you can help them? Because I know even me, I've had to have my own recalibration on how the way I look at life and what the actual meaning of giving is. Because like I said, most people just think giving is just, hey, here go a couple dollars, such and such and such and such. No, giving is about really, really deep support. And I get it. I know friendships change, relationships change with family, and all of that other stuff change. You change. I change. But at the core of yourself, you still have to be a giver. I used to always feel like, what's the use of me having, and I know a lot of times, guys, especially coming up in the inner city, you feel better when you got something that somebody else doesn't have. I ain't gonna lie, I even went through that the other day where, I had gotten a car, and so I got, the new Pennsylvania tags. So, I feel like I'm special because I'm riding around with a new Pennsylvania tags. And I had to sit and think to myself, like, dummy, no, you're not. No, you're not. Because in about 3-4 months, you're going to see these things all over the place. So we always have this feeling of wanting to be in competition or better than somebody, which is okay if you're a competitive person. But you can be competitive and you can still be a giver. You can still be the best type of person that you can be. You can still be a person that says, hey, I know I don't have much. I know I'm down to whatever it is. But I know I could cook a meal for somebody that I know might need something to eat. I know I might be able to give this person a ride that I know maybe they can't get to where they need to get to. Because ultimately, and once again, because we're going to talk about it a little bit tomorrow, with this whole Charlie Kirk thing is that hate is always going to be around. Evil is always going to be around. Like I've said before, you can't have joy without pain. You can't have sun without rain. So it's not going anywhere. But one thing you can do, and one thing I can do, is that we can be more conscientious and we can be better givers. Like I'm gonna have a talk with the kids tonight, girls coming up tonight, and the same stuff I'm talking with you now, same stuff I'm talking with them, and say, listen, we're not going to get in the mode of just whenever you need something, asking for it. Call and say, hey dog, hey dad, how was your day? How do you feel? What's going on with you? Because if the younger generation is never taught to give, what is it saying about us? But hey, you know how I always do on the weekends. I say, go out, get yourself something to drink, get yourself something. Hey, matter of fact, speaking of giving, hey, look, you see a little young lady or whatever you want to, hey, let's say, hey, look, get her a tall, ice cold glass of water on me. Matter of fact, you know what, bartender, put a lemon in that too. All right, you know what I'm saying? But no, seriously, make sure that you have a good weekend. I'll rock out. I'll see you again actually tomorrow. So enjoy your Friday night. And, we got some changes coming up and we'll talk about that next week. But you know how the game goes. Live life. Don't let life live you.